My kids want to talk to me years after they turned their backs on me for their mom and stepdad. I told them stay where they were, which is away from me. I 58M was married to my ex-wife Janet 58F for 15 years. We had 2 kids, Michael 24M and Carrie 22F. We divorced about a decade ago, after I caught Jeff, my wife's boss, mid-thrust into Janet, when I was supposed to be out of town for the day. Shit went really bad that day, thankfully not worse, because if it did, I'd probably still be in prison right now. I beat him viciously, and he ended up in the hospital for several days, and I in turn was locked up. During my incarceration, she got a protective order against me because she got hit a few times during the beating, trying to protect him. My mom bailed me out, but over the next year, I would pretty much lose everything. I lost my job, and ended up moving back in with my mom, while we divorced, and fought over custody. She ended up with primary custody, because who would guess that a jobless middle-aged man, living in a 2-bedroom apartment with his mother after nearly ending a guy's life, couldn't really take care of himself, no less 2 young kids. It was bad then, but what was worse is that she ended up marrying Jeff, so now I had to watch this douchebag play house with my kids. Slowly but surely, Janet and Jeff basically bought and bribed my kids out of my life. They stopped coming over, refused phone calls, and just ignored me. They eventually wanted to be adopted by Jeff, but I had always refused until I could no longer stand it. My mother died, and my own children couldn't even be bothered to show up to the funeral. She loved them so much, and they didn't even have the decency to show. People will say, well, they were kids, but no. My son was 17 and my daughter was 15. At that age, you know better. And I will never forgive that. The week after, I contacted Janet and told her that I'd sign. I gave up my rights and told myself that I buried them the same day I buried my mother. It's been 7 years without contact, and in that time, I have built myself back. Great job, new home, and in the best shape of my life. I hadn't gave them a thought in years, at least until last week. I received a message from Michael saying that he and Carrie wanted to see me and catch up. I blocked him and went on with my day. Then Carrie messaged me, and I did the same. After they tried to call me and didn't get a response, they showed up at my house. That's the bad thing about small towns. Everyone knows where to find you. When I opened the door, Carrie had tears in her eyes, and Michael said that they just wanted to apologize and talk. I told them to get off my property, and that Washington's, Jeff's last name, weren't welcome. They tried to speak, but I said that they either leave, or I will call the cops, and they can make them leave. They left. But since then, I've been catching hell from friends and acquaintances that heard about me turning them away. Am I the asshole for not wanting anything to do with the them? Should I listen to what they have to say?
My kids want to talk to me years after they turned their backs on me for their mom and stepdad. I told them stay where they were, which is away from me. Update, I received a lot of feedback and I appreciate everyone that responded. Many said for me to keep looking forward and to leave the past buried, but just as many thought that I should hear them out. I can't lie. My curiosity got the best of me, so I decided to shoot the Washington kids a message, letting them know that I'd be willing to sit down and listen to them. They jumped at the opportunity and we planned to meet at a local dive bar that a friend of mine owns. I got there first and posted up in a corner and waited. They arrived and tried to go into pleasantries, but I told them to cut the shit and talk. Michael started out by apologizing for them both and said that things had been challenging for them recently after their perfect family started falling apart. Apparently Janet's propensity to be a town bicycle that gives away free rides came back to bite her in the ass. Jeff caught her getting bent over in a parking lot by a coworker while she was supposed to be working late. Guess he didn't get the memo that you'll lose them the way you got them. Jeff is going to divorce her, which sucks for her because he was at least seemingly smart enough to get a prenup, so Janet isn't going to leave with much. Michael and Carrie tried to get him to reconsider, but he told them that he was sick of her and them, that he should have never took over and played daddy to them for a woman that wasn't worth it. The worst part for them is that they both actually work for Jeff, and since he no longer wants spoiled milk from the old cow, they no longer mean anything to him, so they were fired. Got to love right to work states. Due to their mom's traveling cooch, they are struggling with loss and just decided that they wanted to finally reconnect with me. I couldn't help but I just cackled. I haven't laughed so hard in at least a decade. They were shocked that I found their sorrows hilarious. That was all I needed to hear. I was just a water source that they wanted to use to put out the dumpster fire that had been lit on their lawn. I stood up and said good luck, but there's nothing here for me. You learned that Jeff is the little pissant opportunist, that he always was, and that your mom needs an STD panel. Carrie cried and asked me to wait and Michael just sat there. I said maybe one day I'll be in the mind state to try again with you both, but it won't be today, and it won't be because you're sad that your adoptive daddy doesn't want you. You both had a choice and you left me because the grass was supposedly greener over there. Now stay there and deal with your green spray painted dirt. I did tell them that I would give them the blueprint that no one gave me because at one time they were my world. Buckle down, work hard, come up with a plan and execute it. I wish them luck and left. That was a couple of days ago and they are still reaching out and hoping to build something, but I'm not there. If I have a change of heart and they seem consistent enough, I'll actually give them my point of view.